Yo, 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 PCC students, what's going on? Welcome.
What up?
What up? Hey, camera's a little grainy. We're a little shaky here on our table. I don't know what the deal with that is. But we're coming at you live today just to, I don't know, kind of hang out. So we realized that over the past several weeks and maybe even a couple months, pretty much since the 44-hour live stream, that our content has been particularly, I wouldn't say that like heavy is the right word, but maybe a little weightier than we sort of normally go with it. And again, times have kind of warranted that a little bit. Like things are kind of crazy right now, if you didn't notice. So it's been good to be able to talk and think about some of that stuff, and that's not going away, and we're going to continue to have particular conversations moving forward. But today we figured we would just sort of hang out. I see we have 6 people here. One of them's not us, so I think there are 6 unique people here, which is awesome. So if you're here, go ahead and tell us in the chat, because we're going to need you today. We're going to need you because we're going to interact with you a lot. In fact, our game kind of depends on you. If you don't interact in the chat, we can't play the game. So anyway, yeah, so we're going to play a little game together, and then Ellis and I are just going to talk about some stuff, and again, call on you a lot, call on you repeatedly to help chime in. So I don't know what the delay is. Again, none of us are watching it at the moment in the room. We just see the live screen. So please let us know you're here, because again, we need you for what it is we're going to do. And if you don't, we'll figure it out, of course. But sup, Lindsay? Just got that. Sup? So the first game, or the game we're going to play.
It's like, there's more than one.
Right. The game we're going to play is we're going to put Ellis and I to the test from you. Okay? So I'm going to try and explain this in a way that makes sense. There you go. Nice. Going to try and explain this in a way that makes sense. So what we're going to do is, you've probably also noticed that we like movies. I don't know if you like movies. I think movies is something that we can all agree on. Which movie? Of course, that's going to be different. Right? But just movies in general. We all have movies that we like. So what we're going to do is, in the chat, you guys who are here are going to put a movie, or I guess it can be a TV show, in the chat, and we're going to do our best to make a short mini message out of it on the spot. Okay?
Bruh.
We're going. Oh, hey, Megan.
What up?
What's up, Megan? You. Okay. I don't know if you're still at Mom's, but if you are, then Mom might be here too.
Right.
Anyway, so we're going to.
Hey, Jackie H in the house.
Yeah. Snoop. We got the adult party going on right now. So that's 1, 2, 3.
No.
So here we go. Yeah. So we're gonna make a little mini. We're gonna make a little mini message out of it if we can. Now there's one caveat, of course, and we have to have seen the movie. Okay. So we have to have seen the movie, and so we're gonna take your suggestions now. So let's see. It says we have 4. I can never trust the number, really. Even though this one does seem to be updating quite a bit. Yeah. So yeah, if you're here, let us know. You want to go first?
No, you got first.
You want me to go first?
It's all you.
Well, she submitted those before the game was done being explained. So
Frozen can't be used.
Correct.
It's out.
Correct.
For the whole game.
Yeah, it's banned from the game. No, I don't know. Maybe. But the one key is that we get to decide.
Okay.
But we have not planned any of these. There's nothing on the table in front of us. In fact, we thought of this sort of on the way over a little bit. So anyway, Braveheart. Oof. Okay. All right. Well, I'll go because I've seen Braveheart.
They're coming in now. You gotta go.
All right. So let's see. Give me a few seconds here to formulate what I would say. So Braveheart. So there's once a man named William Wallace who, back in, I don't know, the 11th century or so, fought for his people's freedom. Now, we'll get back to him in a minute because his story is important. But the key takeaway that we're going to have from him is the desire to do what's right, even when there's resistance in the other way. So have you ever known that something was wrong, or something that you were observing was not the way it should be? And you got torn between, well, I know this is wrong, but at the same time, if I intervene, then I might lose something. Then I might lose respect. That I might lose a little pride. Then I might lose time. Then I might lose something else. You name it. But so you're torn in this spot, right? And you don't know what to do, because on the one hand, you know what you need to do, but on the other hand, it might cost you something. Well, William Wallace felt the same way. His people were oppressed. They were oppressed, and he knew that something needed to be done. Now, if you take just the movie, because of course it's an interpretation of the real person of William Wallace. It seemed like at first he was content just letting the injustices go. And as long as he could just live on his farm and do what he needed to do, he was just going to let it go and just sort of turn a blind eye because nobody was bothering him. But then when his wife, who he had to marry in secret, was captured and eventually killed, it set him off on a course that would change his people's history. And he knew in that moment what needed to be done, even though it was maybe going to cost him something. It ended up costing him his life. And I'm not saying that the thing that you need to confront, the thing that you need to see, is necessarily going to cost your life. But are we going to be people who, when we see injustice, when we see something that needs done, who are going to be willing to put aside our worries to act, regardless of what it costs? Because William Wallace did it, but Jesus did it. Jesus went into the homes of sinners. He hung out with prostitutes and tax collectors. People hated. It was going to cost him some reputation, but he knew it was the right thing to do, and he did it, and eventually was also killed for it. Of course, he came back to life, unlike William Wallace. So my challenge for you today is, when you see some sort of injustice, when you see something that you know that needs to be done, big or small, that you'll have the courage to do it. Like William, like Jesus. Amen.
That was money, dude.
You like that? You like that?
I'm gonna get wrecked in this game, dude. Preach.
Okay. All right. Okay. Boom. All right, Ellis, you're up.
Okay.
Let's see what the next one is.
Oh gosh, I'm scared.
It's gonna be Lindsay with Frozen again,
Bruh.
probably. But yeah, if I actually gave that at something, it would be questionable.
You only have to add 25 minutes, give or take.
Even a daily worship, it would have been people would have been I know. I was thinking in my mind as I was talking that I was going to really try and include that line somehow, but I don't know. I couldn't fit it in there.
Grown Ups.
Have you seen Grown Ups?
Is that the one with, is that the one with Chris Rock and Kevin James?
I think so. And Adam Sandler?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
I have, but it's been like a decade.
Bro, let's turn this table a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're slanted.
There we go.
Okay.
That feels a lot better.
Yeah. Yes. Dude. Okay. All right.
Have you seen it though?
Yes.
So you know the plot?
Sure.
All right.
We're about to find out, I guess.
All right. Get it.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
this is a no judgment zone, people. Okay. We did this to ourselves.
Oh gosh.
I've never seen it, so.
Dude.
Kung Pao.
What?
Kung Pao is amazing.
This is about to be so bad. Okay. Have you ever? I can't even. Oh my gosh.
Psych up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. Forget the chat.
I'm
Just.
Okay.
I'll put my phone there for now so you can concentrate.
Okay. Have you ever had a group of friends
To
when
the
you were young?
people.
Oh yeah.
To the people.
Okay. Have you?
You gonna turn the light on?
Yes.
Okay.
That thing's distracting me.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Have you ever had a group of friends when you were young and you were really close and you bonded and everything and you were like friends for life, but then life pulled you apart? Well, that's what happens in Grown Ups, I think.
All right.
But then they come back to you come back together, and life's different. You're adults, you have families, the dynamic is different, and you're trying to see if that friendship is still the same. Well, that's
Keep going.
Dude,
Keep going.
that's what happens in Grown Ups. And how does this relate to the Bible, bruh? This is gonna be.
I haven't seen Grown Ups, but I would
Okay.
imagine if that's the plot,
Mhm.
then they realize even though life's changed, somehow they're still really close, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So you could definitely go like the true friendship route here.
Mhm.
Like true friendship isn't about the things you have or whatever. It's about the bonds you create. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So think about it. True friendship.
Are you about to say what I just did?
I'm about to just rip it off, dude. True friendship isn't about where you are or who your family or what changes. It's about to go down. It's about the things that made that connection in the first place, right? And that doesn't matter where you are, as long as you have that bond, you'll always have that friendship. Grown up.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Let's go.
That was horrible.
Let's go.
That was horrible.
It's fine. Look, this is not easy. In fact, mine Braveheart was a lot easier.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
You can't help me out anymore. I'm just gonna have to do it on my own. Even if
Okay.
it's a train wreck. Okay.
All right. You just kept looking at me,
Yeah.
so I thought you were tossing it to me. All right, I need one. Megan, I'm not doing Sister Act 2. Sorry. I've never seen it. Which I know you already know that, and I know it's your favorite movie of all time.
What if I
but
put it in the chat? Does
what
it
if
count?
you put it in the chat?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't count.
What if
I'll see your name. So I need another one. Born that needs to change now. All right, we'll come up here. We'll just watch Sister Act 2.
Yep. Guess what you're doing tonight?
Born, Jason Bourne,
Oh, dude.
like the whole trilogy. I guess just the character of Jason Bourne, right? All right, I'll try. Give me a second. All right.
Oh no.
All right, I'm ready. I'm going to turn it this way. All right. How many of you have Facebook? Probably everybody here. Raise your hand in the chat if you have Facebook. When you make a Facebook profile, you might not remember this since you probably have Facebook for a while. But when you fill it out, there's a bubble there. There's a box that says simply, "Who are you?" It's supposed to be your bio, who you are. Most people, how they fill it out is sort of what they do, or I don't know, the job they have. So you might see one that says husband, father, businessman, or manager at whatever, manager at just a name a place, Walmart. And that's how pretty much everyone fills out this blurb. You name the things, usually the profession or the things you have as who you are. And these things get tricky because they become your identity. The longer you work somewhere. For example, I've worked at PCC now for coming up on 7 years in September. And it's kind of a part of my identity to be a part of PCC. It's sort of wrapped up in it. Similarly, Jason Bourne's identity was wrapped up in his profession. So much so that he didn't even know who he was anymore, both figuratively and literally. When we meet Jason Bourne, he doesn't remember a single thing about himself. And over the course of 3 movies, 3 glorious movies, 3 beautifully entertaining movies, he unravels the secrets of identity, his identity, or what he was told his identity was. And he turns out he doesn't really like it. In fact, the reason we find out later in the in the end of the first movie, he remembers why he lost his memory in the first place. And it's because he was already struggling with his identity. The thing he did, the thing he was programmed to do in his case. But for the follower of Christ, our identity is not wrapped up in what we do. It's wrapped up in who we were made to be by God. See, God doesn't define us by our job, our past, our financial status. God defines us differently. He defines us by the intrinsic characteristics and personalities placed within us. He defines us as his children, his dearly beloved, the body of Christ, if you will. Now that comes later in the New Testament. Jesus doesn't specifically say that, but we all are a part of the body, defined not by the things we have or the things we do, but who God made us to be. And when we can separate the things we have as our identifiers from who it is that we actually are, we'll learn to be more confident in ourselves, to know ourselves better, to know who God made us to be better. So when life comes, as it inevitably does, and we lose the job or the relationship falls apart, our identity doesn't go away with it because our identity wasn't wrapped up in that. It's wrapped up in God and in Christ. See, when I was younger, I was in a relationship that I thought at the time was the one, and then it ended. And a piece of my identity went away with it because that's what I was concerned with most at the time. And it's as if, this relationship was like the center of my universe, was the sun in my universe. And God was one of the planets orbiting it. And when the sun went away, everything else just sort of had nothing to hold it there. So it just sort of went away. It wasn't until I made God the center, the sun, no pun intended, that now the rest of my life could revolve around it. And God's not going anywhere. So now the sun, just as it informs everything, but then I realized she wasn't you. That is correct. That is correct. And yes, I cannot express how much joy I have that it ended up being you. But God is the center of my universe now. He is what defines my identity, not even Megan, my wife, who is very, very close to that spot, but is not in that spot. So I want to encourage you today to find your identity in God, not in the things you do or the things you have, but in God. Because when life comes and it falls apart, you're not going to lose who you are because God defined that. And he never goes away. He's the same today, yesterday, today, and forever. Your identity is as well.
Well done.
There it is.
Did y'all do this in creative meeting or something last week? I feel like this is a setup.
It's
I feel
not
like
a
I'm
setup.
being punked.
It's not a setup. It's not a setup. All right, Ellis, you get one more.
Oh gosh. All right.
Somebody give him one.
Bring it.
Give him one. And he told me not to help. So
Nope.
I'm just chilling, arms
No,
crossed.
I'm just
over
going to
here.
copy what you say. So.
Okay. All right. All right, sweet.
Lion King 2. Oh my gosh.
You have to incorporate one of the songs
That's
into
where
the message.
I need a pen so I can draw a line because that's not happening.
Here's a line, the screen
Right.
right here. All right. I've seen 3 people talk, but there's 5 people here. So somebody else who's watching, hit up the chat. We need a movie. If you got here late, we need a movie. What we're doing is we're impromptu mini messages based on the movie you submit. Only catch is we got to know, we have to have seen it, of course.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense if we haven't seen it. So Ellis is up.
AKA, it's a prime opportunity to make me embarrass myself. So take it. The Greatest Showman.
Have you seen it?
I have. Oh gosh.
It is a musical. I'm telling you, he's not going to sing. Like,
No, heck no.
You just
no chance.
it's not a fight worth fighting.
No chance.
But if you can do Greatest Showman, do you want the screen time?
Yeah, hold on. I need a second.
Get the screen time.
Let's see. The Greatest Showman.
This is the greatest show. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So that sounds just like Hugh Jackman.
That was pretty close. You know what's sad? That frickin' summer camp was the whole theme of
That's right.
And I can't remember any of it. Frick.
That's just I didn't speak.
Right. That's also never mind. Almost made a joke about summer camp. I'm just gonna skip it.
Yeah.
All right. Here goes nothing.
Just get
Have
it.
you ever thought you had one purpose in life, but it turned out that was not it at all? God had something else in mind. Well, P.T. Barnum was that. He was supposed to be something other than what he became. I don't remember. But it turns out he was destined to bring together a collection of people who also felt like they didn't belong, who didn't know what their purpose was and what they were supposed to do to be their truest selves. That's the story of The Greatest Showman. And that's the story for all of us as well, in some way or another. We all have plans for our lives and purposes that we think are ours. And it turns out they're not, because we decided them and God didn't. But when you turn things over to God, pursue the purpose he has for you, and surround yourself with people who are also pursuing that, then you can literally change the world and change a lot about the world you live in. And that is what happens in The Greatest Showman. And that's what happens with us every day.
There you go.
Wasn't-
Not bad.
Better than the first one. Better than
That
the
was
first
a
one.
lot better than the first one. Not even no cap. Oakland just said, "Where's Daddy?" Right here,
Oh.
Oakland. Hi. Right here.
Just like, get this chump off the screen.
No, she Ellis. Ellis. She loves Ellis. Not bad.
It was okay.
That was good. That was good.
Appreciate it.
Short, sweet, to the point,
Yeah.
and it was a good point. As he said, we did a whole week of that at summer camp.
Yeah.
But
that
I
was
don't remember
important to
saying
do.
them. I don't remember them saying that. So, shout out to you. All right. So we have options. Again, as the title of this says, we're having fun tonight. We're having fun tonight. We don't actually have necessarily technically anything planned. We just wanted to be able to interact with some students. And even though at this point, if you're watching, we don't know you're there, which we want to know you're there, really. And not trying to put pressure on you. You can just watch, and that's fine. But, we were hoping to hear from you. So, but also adult leaders, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't interact as well. Point is we continue to do this. I'm having fun, but at the same time, we were going to talk just a little bit, just about a few random things, and also get y'all to answer some questions that we had. Pretty generic about just sort of as we enter phase 3 here in Virginia this week, maybe some things that you've found, maybe some habits that you've picked up in quarantine that you actually like. Because I know quarantine was hard for a lot of us. And of course, we don't know what the future holds at this point regarding it. But for now, it seems like we have a little more leeway to sort of be out and be slightly more normal. So just want to see if y'all picked up any good habits while you were in quarantine. And maybe we can share some of those with each other because we can help each other grow. And if it's something you did, it's like, oh, I never even considered that, then maybe I can do it too. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So Ellis, I'll start with you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you picked up any good habits or useful things in quarantine that you're going to take with you post quarantine?
I think I got a lot better about my sleep, like getting enough sleep, because I was getting pretty trash at that before coronavirus showed up.
Yeah.
I was like, well, here's work and here's my semblance of a social life and here's sleep, what's left over, like the 2% left over. So yeah, but quarantine, basically, I had to put boundaries around when I worked, which kind of forced me to segment my time the rest of the way, which included sleep. And it's a lot easier when you don't have to commute to work and stuff.
True.
So, yeah, whether that's carried over so far out of quarantine, TBD.
You have to hang on to it.
Yeah.
if you're going to use it.
Yeah. But I would say that.
Okay.
How about yourself?
Me? So I would say that I have, and this is sort of a recent development, the actual action step for this. But as I've said to you before, I think that I've known that sort of cell phone use and technology use is like kind of one of the unspoken, maybe the biggest unspoken addiction that we all have.
Yep.
But everybody's doing it. So it's like,
it's cool.
It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Because we're all doing it. So whatever. But it really is. And I've really taken, before, it helped that I was thinking about this a little before quarantine, but I really just got to see some of it was necessary. Like you said, we had to work from home, but a lot of it like was unnecessary. And just between my phone, the computer, video games or whatever, just looking at screens the whole time and like all the time. So like I said, I didn't like magically fix that during quarantine, but my awareness of it has gone way up. And I have been really trying to take intentional steps to manage that, particularly the phone. The phone's the big culprit.
Yeah.
So particularly the phone, and just sort of put it off to the side and not get caught up in articles or whatever. The big step I took is sort of just deleting social media off my phone. I mean, deleting social media in general is something that I've done. And so I'm trying, other than Facebook, just so I could basically tell people that this was happening. And yeah, so I'm really trying to carry that with me outside. This will be easy to go right back.
Right.
And so, Chad, how about you? We got a few people here. Have you all picked up any habits in quarantine that you actually enjoy? Maybe it's you've been reading more because you've had time. Maybe it's you've gotten into a really solid devotional routine. Maybe it's quiet time, something like that. What have you done in quarantine that you're going to hopefully carry with you that's good? And then maybe you can encourage some of us to do with our time.
Bro, I'm with you on the phone thing. I was destroying my phone battery during quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
Hit like 1 o'clock, have to put it on the charger. That's right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's
and much. Again, we, some of that is work related, to be fair, but a lot of it's not.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah. So it was crazy. We're not going to spend too much time talking about quarantine. We did say we were going to keep it light.
It's true.
But just wanted to encourage each other. Y'all can put that in the chat as we go, and we'll address it there. But
I want to know what quarantine habit Oakland developed. Like
speaking.
Suspense. Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah. She developed like sentences in quarantine.
Okay.
Like where's daddy? Like that's new. Not daddy, but where's, the word where's.
Right.
And like actually asking a question is kind of crazy. She's like a little parrot now. So no matter what you say, she can say it right back pretty much. Now she says it in like her own way, and she'll like skip a word or two, but you can tell she's trying to just say whatever you just said.
Right.
So now you have to be careful. Not that I'm, I'm really intentional about the things that come out of my mouth in terms of my language, but you still have to be like, like crap, dang it.
Yep.
And you don't want her to be like, crap. Not that I think crap's a bad word. I just said it 3 times on the PCC student stream, but she's also less than 2.
Right.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Don't need her doing that just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, if she's still watching, I just did it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a catch-22. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what she did, is just talking, which is pretty monumental.
Yeah.
If only we had all done something that's significant during quarantine. Right. Learned a brand new skill like speech. Ellis, I heard news the other day.
All right.
And you heard news. This isn't the news that you're thinking of. Okay?
Oh gosh.
I heard news the other day that when movie theaters open back up, that among the movies going back into the theaters are The Dark Knight and the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Woo-hoo. I heard Inception as well.
If there were 2 movies that are gonna bring me back to the theater, honestly, I'm just gonna be transparent. Like, despite the risk, they nailed them for me.
Right.
I know some of you out there, you're like, oh, I could care less, whatever. But for me, like, that's a ticket. That's a few tickets right there. That's 4 tickets. And I swear if they show the theatrical versions of Lord of the Rings, I'm going to be mad. Because, we don't even talk about those.
You need
But-
all 12 hours. Or
Oh
however
yeah,
many it
easy,
is.
easy. That's light work, dude.
Oh, dude.
That's so easy because it's engaging the entire time. You don't even get me started. I'm not even going to start.
Is it The Dark Knight or is it the whole trilogy?
Well, it said The Dark Knight.
Okay.
I would imagine it would be the trilogy, but The Dark Knight, of course, is the one that stands out.
Right. Yeah.
That's easily the best one.
Yeah. I went and saw Dark Knight Rises 3 times in the theaters when it
Mhm.
came out. I don't know. I don't know if I would sit through it again.
Fun fact. Well, I mean, you say that like you saw it once and you saw it 3 times
Yeah.
in the theaters. Like clearly you enjoyed it a little.
But
bit.
by the third time, I was like, bro, like when he's in the pit, the third time you're like, bro, get out of the pit. Like, okay, come on now.
do your workout montage. Get out of the pit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Fun fact, Megan. I don't know if she's still here. Probably not. Might be feeding Oakland or something. But Megan and I, when we were in Guatemala together, the trip we met on,
Mhm.
The Dark Knight Rises was coming out in theaters, and I was really upset because I'm like completely obsessed with The Dark Knight. I saw The Dark Knight 4 times in theaters, and I watched it. It was on the plane on the way to China the year I went, and I watched it 3 times on the plane. Because the flight from LA to Hong Kong, Megan is here.
Oh, shit, yeah.
LA to Hong Kong is like 16 hours. So I watched it 3 times in one flight. Just like it ended and I was like, replay. So I love that movie. I'm obsessed with it. And so when The Dark Knight Rises was coming out, we were going to be in Guatemala. I was like teed up because I was like, I'm going to miss the premiere. I have to see the premiere. And then our host was like, hey, I figured one night, while we're here, when The Dark Knight Rises come out, we can all just go see it in the theater. And I was like, is it in English? And he was like, yeah. I was like, so it's subtitled for you? And he was like, yes. I was like, secretly, I was like, that's kind of, I wish it was different. But in my head, I was like, yes. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like, yes, English. So we saw it. We saw it like close to its premiere in a Guatemalan theater in Guatemala City. Megan was there, and she can tell you, like, I don't even talk to me. Nobody on the trip, don't even talk to me. Nobody better say a word in the theater. I'm zooming right in on the screen the entire movie. And I was just like,
Bruh.
the
Somebody was
whole
like,
movie.
rustling their popcorn bucket too loud. You're like, come on.
Yeah. So, but it was, it's not as good as The Dark Knight, but it was,
No.
but it was
It's
still a
solid.
cool experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is a sweet story.
Yes. What movie would need to go in the theater for you to go back?
Well, I'm gonna go back for those, but I understand the question. So, Inception's up there, which is also going to be in theaters. That's a sweet movie, and
Mhm.
just I think like a cinematic experience. It's hard to beat that. So I would go back to see that on the big screen.
Chat, you be thinking about your answer too. Put in the chat. This one's easier.
I bet.
Y'all didn't answer the other one. That's fine. This one's easier to answer. So put it in there. What movie would need to go in the theater for you to just disregard any sort of current social norm to just get in there?
Lindsay's going to say Frozen re-release, even though she can
Sure.
watch it on Disney Plus right now.
But there's something about it being in the
it's
theater.
true.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like,
I got you.
there really is something about being in the theater. I mean, I have the special edition Dark Knight DVD. I can watch it anytime I want, but it's not the theater screen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Same with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, go watch that anytime, but it's not the theater screen.
Bro, I think my other pick is probably The Empire Strikes Back because I wasn't alive when it came out in theaters the first time. It'd be
Fair
sick
enough.
to watch that on a big screen.
Fair enough. Jurassic Park just is making a theater run right now.
Nice.
It was #1 box office this past weekend,
Impressive.
which is funny. Oh, that reminds me. Listen to this. Talk about life hack, people, right here. Okay. So I heard about these 2 guys who made like a horror film over Zoom during quarantine, just via Zoom. And I don't know what the movie is. I don't know the plot. I don't know anything. I think it was like super intentionally low budget though, because what they did is they put it in the theater for a weekend, like 2 weekends ago, when no other movies were in the theaters. So for that weekend, it was the #1 movie in America for that weekend. Just a random horror movie filmed on Zoom.
Nicely done,
And now it's in the history books.
bro. And now they're
Can't take it away from them.
Nope. Now they're gonna do the high budget version of those. Like it's gonna be like when freaking I don't know, like Paranormal Activity started doing a thing. Like it's gonna be one of those trends. Like what
Zoom
happens
horror
on
movies.
Zoom? Yeah, like I don't know.
It's gonna be like a figure that appears right here
Yeah.
while we're live. And it's gonna be all dark and stuff.
Yep.
Blair Witch Project style. Yeah. No, Chad, I mean,
Bruh.
come on. I need you.
Bruh.
We really need you. This was dependent on y'all being here. And I know that you're probably bored a little bit just listening to us talk about movies. I mean, we could do this all day.
Yeah.
But we need to bounce off you. We need to bounce off you. We need you to be here.
Y'all are listening to movies before?
I know. Everybody was like, all right.
Sound of Music?
Game's over.
I'm not going to sit through 4 hours of the Sound of Music in the theater, dude.
Yeah, nah. Sorry, Mom. Sorry. I can't do that. There's not many movies, to be fair, that I would go back to the movie theater right away for.
Right.
Just because, I don't need to I'll be shoulder to shoulder with you just because we've been hanging out for months. And you're kind of like, if you think of like the close circle of people you've quarantined with, like you would be in my circle.
Right.
So, well, I never got to see Downton Abbey when it was in the what? Isn't that a show?
Dude, it was a show, then they made a movie. My mom's obsessed with it. That's why I know.
Okay.
She went to see the movie as well. So
Okay. Well, I wouldn't laugh at that. You get to pick whatever movie you want. Fair enough.
Yep.
I do think that there are probably better movies that utilize the big screen.
Yes.
But you get to choose whatever movie you want. You know what I mean?
Yep. Bro, if they were releasing the Hamilton movie that's coming out on Disney Plus, my mom would be there. And she hates the movie theaters under normal circumstances. But for that, she would be there. Instead, she's going to be like, hey, give me your Disney Plus login so I can watch it.
Mm-hmm. You can be like, well, give me $3
right.
or give Grant $3 so you can pay my share this month.
Yep. That'll be $3.50.
Yeah, right. Hey, they made a movie. Yeah. I didn't know that.
I got your back.
So somebody else, get in here. Thanks, Mom, by the way, for getting in here. Can always count on you. So one other thing that I wanted to ask you about, to sort of switch gears, and again, y'all can keep bouncing the movies. We'll always go back to movies, no problem. Is similar to quarantine. I want you to talk about maybe one thing that from Scripture that you maybe have seen or read or heard for the first time, maybe, or you've been reminded of when you've maybe been being more intentional about it, and just talk about that a little bit over the past few months.
Well, something I really first dove into months back was Acts 27, and I've kind of revisited it through a different lens during all this, particularly as we have tried to get the church reopened. And just being online, like the whole thing, it's the chapter, the freaking the ship journey chapter.
Oh yeah.
And about how the guys try to bail, and like there's all of these ups and downs, and ultimately, Paul is telling them throughout the journey, cut the lifeboats, everybody stay in the ship, don't let sandbars derail us. Like basically, everybody stay together and we'll get through this. I feel like that is something that applies to a lot of things in my life in recent months. And I feel like that's something we can all kind of relate to in quarantine. Like, hey, this is a crazy time, unprecedented. Like none of us have, I don't think, ever been through anything like this before, but we're going to get through it together, and it's going to be tough, but yeah. So that's been really impactful for me.
That's good. Because I think it's hugely applicable.
Yeah.
That's something about the Bible. You'll hear this from us all the time, but it's written a couple thousand years ago, but the truth in it is lasting. So, and that's definitely not accidental, because there's just way too much of it that still makes sense and is perfectly relevant to our time today.
Yeah.
So
I kind of have like bullet points for that mapped out. So
like on a whim, if you need to drop a message,
bro, it's like
ready
as soon as I have the opportunity. I just need the right opportunity to do it. And like the next time somebody's like, hey, do you have an idea for a message? I'm gonna be like, yes, I do.
Funny you should ask.
Oh, okay. Right. Unroll a scroll.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. For me, I'm just trying to really practice like some serious gratitude. You know, fortunately with COVID, my job didn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Still got to work a lot and kind of experience like a new way of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't even mean just students, but in the big room as well. And, you know, the 44-hour live stream got to happen as a result, which we were reminiscing a little bit about earlier on the way here. Just how nutty that was,
Oh my
how
gosh.
crazy that was to be in this room for like, it was 44 hours of time, but it felt like 3 days. Like, I don't know, just felt ridiculous. But yeah, and just how crazy that was, and how much fun we got to have, and how it doesn't happen without the pandemic. And
Sure.
and so just gratitude that God in my personal life has shown up like time and time again, whether it's like making sure we're good financially, making sure we have the things we need, making sure Megan, who did like lose her job temporarily, was able to get on unemployment list really fast. And, we're not special in any way. I do think there's something to be said. I do think God likes to know that we know that like the things we have come from him.
Sure.
And I don't necessarily think that means we're his favorite over anybody per se, like, because we practice that. But I do think it's intentional. I do think even though God knows my thoughts technically, like before I say them, he still says like, yeah, I want to hear it, you know. I actually got to talk about that point a little bit in like one of the prayer things we did on Instagram when Brian was talking to me. He said, like, what's the point of praying if God knows your thoughts? I was like, well, it just sort of you can sort of equate it to your spouse, like, and maybe you heard this, so I guess I'm just telling you too, but sort of equate it to like your spouse or a relationship or your parents or whatever, you know. This is a student forum, your parents or your friends or your girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever. If you love each other and you trust each other, then you already know. Like, I already know that Megan loves me. She already knows that I love her. But of course we want to hear the other person say it,
right?
Like pretty routinely. You know what I mean? Just because it's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's good to hear. It's like it's confirmation to me that, you know, you're thinking about it occasionally and everything like that, and vice versa. And I think it's the same with God. You know, he knows what I'm thinking, but he wants me to say it at the same time. Like, he would know that I'm grateful and believe that all the good things I have come from him, but to acknowledge it verbally, and particularly with my daughter, like every time we pray, I always try and make a point to say, thank you for all we have.
Yeah.
Because I want to teach her that same thing from a young age. So anyway, I'm trying to do more and more of that. And that, you know, provision, I've seen God provide in my life for a few seasons now pretty regularly, and hope that I always see that, because I know he always is, as we've talked about on this farm before. Just it might be harder to see sometimes than others.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I share that as well, because what was it, March? I couldn't have imagined. I don't think anybody could imagine March 8th was the last time we were going to have church as we know it in, what's it been, 3 months?
Yeah.
And even now that we're back, it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it probably won't be for the foreseeable future. So, yeah, just not that. I guess I'm not saying God's being like, hey, I can take this away from you just as soon as I gave it, like some parent would say. But it's like, hey, the world is broken and crazy things happen. So be grateful for where you are and what you're doing when you're there, I guess.
Yeah.
I think is a good thing to live by.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But the beautiful scenery and the huge mansion would be beautiful on the big screen. You're right. I never watched the show. I know we're talking about Downton Abbey suddenly.
Yeah.
I never watched the show. I know it was like a huge phenomenon when it came out, but my favorite British show, probably by far, is Sherlock.
I haven't seen it.
The Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
That one is money. It's really good. They the seasons are 3 episodes, but they're like an hour and a half a piece. So it's more like a little mini series, if you will. And I think there's 3 or 4 seasons. they were filming all these while Martin Freeman was doing The Hobbit and Benedict's doing Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? So like they don't really they pick two super high profile actors to be these two people, and they're great together, but they just don't have much time. So it's been a slow grind for the seasons to come out, but they're usually like really great. Nice. It's on Netflix, so shout out Netflix. Yeah. What do we do without Netflix?
I don't know, man. I don't know how I would have made it through the last 3 months without Netflix, for sure.
I think you mean like the last 4 or 5 years.
Fair.
To be honest, I don't yeet George Q.
George Q.
What it is, my guy. George, will ask you this question since you're an active chatter. Okay. What movie would need to come out in theaters for you to be like, you know what? Rip social distancing. I'm getting back in the theater. What movie would need to come out for you to get in there like that? Anyway, what was I saying? Netflix. I actually don't even watch that much Netflix. That's the thing. But it's nice to know that it's just there.
Right.
It's ready.
Yeah.
In the event that I'm like, you know what? I need to just decompress for a bit.
They could have thrown Avatar in there a little sooner, like a little earlier in quarantine. Right. Now I'm trying to do stuff and watch it at the same time, but it's okay.
The thing about Avatar, though, is it's pretty quick. Like,
it is.
The episodes are like 20 minutes. You can take in little bite-sized chunks.
Yeah.
And it's really not even that long. It's only 3 seasons or so. So it's not so bad.
I just finished season 1. And season 1 is like the whole show is good. But season 1 is kind of like, oh, okay, there's a lot of filler in there. But bro, like the last 3 of season 1 and the first one of season 2, it's like it gets real quick. I was like, yes,
that's true.
That's what I was waiting for.
Avatar is pretty sweet. I do think it's a little overhyped.
Maybe a little bit.
I think it's, and I know like this is a student forum, so I think we're good talking about this, but some of like Mom and Megan, they're gonna be like, I'm out of here. But but I think Avatar is like anime for people who don't like anime. I
think it's fair.
And so it's like, I mean, it's cool. I'm glad that there's something in that market and it is good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It is good. I think it's a little overhyped.
It's also like I can only speak for season 1 because I'm rewatching for the first time in like a decade, but it's like way more kiddie than I remember.
Oh, sure.
In the first season, at least, like there were several episodes where I was like, "Ang, you're freaking annoying me, bro." Okay, I get it. Like he's 12. Come on. If the new Ghostbusters came out next week and theaters were open, I'd go every day for a week alone.
I can't tell if that's a joke. The new Ghostbusters?
I think he must be talking about. There's one that hasn't come out yet. They're like, there's like a sequel that hasn't come out yet.
Well, there's the one that had that starred women instead of.
I hope it's not that one. I hope he's not talking about that one.
Well, I've not seen that one. I heard it was really bad.
It was trash. It's a dumpster fire.
Okay, all right. Well, fair enough.
My opinion. If you like it, George, then okay.
Yeah. We said that to Mom that she can go see whatever she wants, even though we're not in Downton Abbey. The new one is supposed to come out next year. So it's a different one.
Yeah.
It's got most of the original cast. Okay. All right. We're good there. Yeah, we're good there. We're good there. Even though I've not even seen the other one. I just have heard it was bad. So
don't spare yourself.
Go
watch The Last Airbender instead.
Oh, if you would recommend that over this, then it's got to be really bad. Dude. It's got to be really bad. Yeah. So, what are you thinking right now about the sports comeback?
I think it's going to be interesting. The NBA.
The other one was a waste of time, money, and life. There you go.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
There you go.
Spot on.
Succinct. Very, very, very nail on the head right there.
Oh, and covering our bases. Not because it starred women. Because
for sure.
It was trash.
I think that should go without saying.
Yes. But now it's on the record.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that mess.
You're right.
When we're talking about sports, I think it's going to be interesting. I think the fact that the NBA is kind of going out there first and doing it, I would assume. I don't think baseball is going to start before the NBA, considering they just decided they were going to play. But it'll be interesting to see, like, the first week after they play games. Is there going to be some massive spike in positive tests?
Right.
And then, like, what happens? And then how do the other sports react? I think it'll be interesting to see how the NBA does it and if it's a disaster or not, and how the other sports, as they come along after, can maybe improve the procedures to make it successful.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that reminds me. What you just said reminds me. This isn't related to sports, but students, you got to know, okay? So when Mission Serve canceled its trip, we said it pretty much immediately. I would say like within a day of getting the news that they canceled. I went live on YouTube to tell, and then I shared that video on Facebook and stuff. And I know, like, not everybody heard right away, as with everything in the pandemic that still is going on, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of a throw darts at the wall and see what sticks. Would I break quarantine to go see Tommy Boy in theaters? Would I break quarantine? That's different. Like, would I have gone out in April to see it? No. Would I go now to see it? Probably. I mean, it is one of the great comedies of our time, I would say. It's really amazing. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Mission Serve.
Yes.
But they reached out to us after the fact, particularly the Walterboro trip, and said, hey, and this is like, now that it's sort of over, we would have been on Mission Serve last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would have just been coming back.
We would have come back yesterday.
Yeah. Rip.
Yep.
Bruh.
Rip in the chat. But they reached out to us and said, hey, we might still do it. And so we were on the fence because they were like, well, if they might still do it, it's going to be in late June. Things might be a little more opened up than they were before. And they probably have thought of some decent precautions to, like, if they're confident they might be able to do it, they might have thought some stuff. So I contacted the leadership and basically said, hey, like, we heard about this. We're interested, but we have questions, because we're not going to send our students down there to be really unsafe or whatever. And unfortunately, they didn't really have answers to a lot of our questions, which immediately ruled it out for us. It's just like, well, if you don't want to answer basic questions about what's protocol, should somebody get corona or test positive, then we're probably not going to do it. And to their credit, they decided not to do it. Yeah. So with some more deliberation, they were like, yeah, maybe it's not the best idea. So all that to say, it reminded me of what you were saying, because I'm not sure sports, like, I don't know. I think they probably assume big organizations, for whatever reason, people with money and companies with money, for whatever reason, think that they should be and have the right to be like the thought leaders on everything that exists.
Right. Yeah.
Why does the NBA know more about coronavirus than me?
It's fair.
Just because they have money?
No.
Like, yeah, maybe they have quicker access to scientists, but if they don't utilize that sort of stuff, they're no different than you and me. You know what I mean? Like, they're just people. None of them are scientists. We're not scientists. So they don't know. Same with the NFL. Same with anybody. So I worry that it's too soon. I want sports back probably close to the top of the list of people.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. It's just kind of unfair to ask players particularly to go out there. And they're going to be the ones most susceptible to it, because they're going to be breathing heavy, particularly in football, making physical contact with one another, like on the reg.
Yep. I mean, like, there's no way I've thought through everything. I get they have a procedure that they think is going to work, and but there's no way they've thought through everything. Sure. And I mean, as soon as you raise the idea of playing again, the way those guys are wired, a lot of them are going to be like, yeah, let's do it, no matter what the circumstance is. Just like on July 12th, when we get back here in person, I'm like, hey, y'all need a social distance. Like, we know that's going to be a struggle because y'all are wired distance. Yes,
but do it.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to say anything.
Right, and we are going to make sure that you do it. So do it. Yeah, right in the camera's right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't look at yourself. Look at the camera. Do it.
I'll be waiting at the door with the duct tape and the yardsticks to tape on
There you
either
go.
side of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Personal bubbles. We're all going to wear those like bubble suits that they play in those games.
Yes.
We bought one for everybody.
Yes.
So make sure you come in and get your size, and we're just going to walk around in those.
Yep.
It's
the student budget for the rest of the year. We're not doing anything
for
else.
the next like 4 years, because I'm pretty sure they're like $200 a pop. So
Right.
for all of you, it's going to be quite crazy.
Yeah.
On that note, though, we're getting pretty close to our time here, but I want to say that I would probably say on Tuesday, because tomorrow's pretty busy, but on Tuesday, Ellis filmed a video explaining the whole summer calendar for the Powhatan campus. If you go to our Midlothian campus, that video is already out in the ether. It's already out on the internet. So go follow the Midlothian campus page. Lindsay did a great job of explaining what's going on for our Midlothian students in our video. Ellis did one similar for our Powhatan students, and it's going to give you a great explanation of what the summer is going to look like starting on July 12th. So check that out. It's going to be here on our YouTube page. It's going to be on our Facebook page as well. So please watch it. Please watch it, because Ellis is also going to send out emails, but these are the forms we have to communicate with you. So we need you to watch it, even if you don't plan on coming, even if you're not ready to come back, which is totally fine. You come back when you're comfortable. We're not making anybody come back or make anybody feel bad for not being here. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a part of it at all, leaders, students, or whatever, please it's going to be like a 3-minute video. So please take the 3 minutes to watch it, so you know what's going on. And that way, we can have like a sweet summer. We can salvage the summer.
We can.
You know what I mean? Because it'll be midway through the summer at that point, but there's still like 4 or 5 hangouts planned, and for like 3 or 4 events planned.
Yes.
Until the beginning of September. So
Yep.
there is going to be a lot happening, a lot that you can be a part of weekly around here as students comes back. So anyway, I think we're pretty close to done. So,
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, not that I can think of.
Cool.
All right.
Guys, thank you for being here. I'm going to pray for us here for just a minute, but I appreciate you coming here. Ellis and I have been talking about, it's no secret that our small group numbers have gone down a little bit as we've gone. And we're just talking about, what's going on there, and is there anything that we could be doing better? So first thing to say is, if you have any suggestions, let us know. You have our contact. Again, you can find us on all these platforms. Just leave a comment on this video once it's published, or in the chat right now if you're like, oh, I've been waiting. And, you want to fire it off, go ahead. But I also know that you're pretty internet fatigued. If you're like the rest of us, I don't even mean just Ellis and I, but the rest of the population, you're pretty fatigued by being on the internet, because there's no escaping the news. There's no escaping for students the schoolwork.
Yeah.
There's no escaping work. In some cases, students, you have both things you're doing online, and then the time you just spend online anyway, trying to decompress. So we get it. There's internet fatigue, but that's why we're really itching to come back, to be in person, to just be with each other again, and not even really utilize technology. Just sort of put the screens on hold for an hour and a half and just get out here and play some games and hear some good words and stuff, and maybe watch a movie, maybe recreate the Olympics. We don't know. You'll find out Tuesday. So anyway, those of you who are here, though, all that to say, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. We love doing this. And I mean, we would do it with one person in here, but It's nice when we do have some interaction and we can play a game together and have some fun. So I'm going to pray for us, then we're going to be done. And then we'll see you really soon. I have one more announcement after I pray, so hang tight. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for all that you have done, all you've given us, God. We know every good and perfect thing comes down from you. Lord, would you give us rest, to just be able to rest and take a break from just the craziness and the madness of our world, and not to avoid it, not to run from it, but just to get the balance that you ordained between our action and our response to the things that need it, and of course our rest and recharging in our time with you. We thank you for all that you have done, all you have yet to do in the lives of our students. And we love you and we thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, we're not going to do this next week. July 4th weekend. We know you're all going to be gone. The 4 of you who are here, I know you don't want to be here on July 5th, July 4th weekend. So we're not going to do this next weekend. And then the weekend after that is when Powhatan is meeting up here. So, yeah, we're very close, just 2 weeks till Powhatan comes back together. Midlow, you actually have an event coming up this Tuesday. So, again, watch that video, check in with Lindsay for more info on that. But until then, thanks for being here. We'll see you around. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.